Welcome to Capture the World with Dee. Interviews with companies and individuals to learn more about digitally capturing the built world. Video, drone, 3D tours, pictures, panoramas, and more. And now your host, a social influencer and community activist, Dee Johnson.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Capture the World with Dee. I'm your host, Dee Johnson. Today's episode is being sponsored by Cubicasa, the makers of a revolutionary app that allows you to scan a property in under 5 minutes and get a professional floor plan in one business day. And all you need is your cell phone. So if you haven't checked them out yet, go to cubi.casa, that's cubi.casa, and give them a try. Your first scan is always free. My guest today is the owner of Elevar Pictures, a digital imagery company based in San Francisco. He's done some amazing work, and he's a great guy with a great story. So without further delay, please help me welcome Jonathan Buckley. Hey, Jonathan. Thanks for joining me today.
Good morning, Dee. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Of course.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Great.
Good.
Yes. So thanks for having me on to talk about Elevar Pictures.
Yes.
What can I tell you about
All
the
right.
company?
So let's get started by giving us a little bit of background about you.
Okay, a little background about me. Well, actually, I'm not a full-time photographer by trade. I have a marketing business for B2B marketing, and I always had an interest in photography and made photography a part-time business about 3 years ago, all photography by aerial. So I use drones. For my photography, and I'll get into how that started here in a second. But business to business marketing. I have a team of 9 people called the Artesian Network, and been in business for about 11 years.
Wow. Okay. So how
Yes.
did photography come into your life?
Well, I've always been a frustrated left-hander living in a right-hander's world. So I always needed a piece of art, some sort of artistic outlet. And that's varied from time to time. So I've always had some interest in photography, no matter what form it took. As far as Elevar Pictures and using drones, this started as a need for, as a weekend dad. I needed science projects for my son. At the time we started with drones, he was about 13, 14 years old. And at the hobby shop, we saw these little foam drones. This is before they had all, DJI had all these photography drones that are all in one, that are made like they are today. And so we bought, programmed, and used these. And as they grew in size, you could attach GoPro cameras to them. And flying them over San Francisco, we just got enamored with the whole idea of the pictures you could take.
Yep.
As things progressed, I got into the drone community, if you will. And as they started coming out with integrated cameras, the photography side of the drone business got better and better and better. And I just got enamored with that side of things. The ability to take low elevation pictures of the community had some really great results. And early on, my son started losing interest when dad got obsessed with taking photographs. So I started making videos and putting them on YouTube and Vimeo, and my son started making fun of me, but they started paying dividends shortly thereafter. Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds like your son was doing what all sons are born to do. Give dad a hard time.
Yes. Yes. Well, it wasn't too long after that. Drones had progressed very, very quickly, and it was by 2016 I had a video out on Vimeo that was seen by a film director who was in San Francisco for a shoot and needed a aerial photographer. And he contacted me through email, through my Vimeo channel. And the funny thing is, my son, uh, just a half an hour before I got that email, my son was in fact making fun of me for doing these amateurish little videos. And long story short is, we ended up filming 5 scenes to a movie that's coming out on June 16th called The Etruscan Smile. He ended up being an Academy Award nominated director out of Israel, working under Arthur Cohen, who is a 6-time Academy Award producer, award-winning producer. So I learned so much in 2016 from working with this director, under this director, and then another one came after that, and another one came after that, and he gave me a lot of ideas about how to take Elevar Pictures from there. Um, that's film is not necessarily bread and butter. Where I've targeted my efforts as a company is actually developing large format print on metal for office buildings, institutions, office buildings and whatnot, large format panoramas. And I focused a lot in the Bay Area, but unique perspectives of our communities, and that's where we got the term Elevar Pictures, to elevate in Spanish.
So let's look at some of those examples that you've done because they're fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. Let me share my screen here. I have pictures out on. There's Elevar Pictures on Facebook. You can find Elevar Pictures on Facebook. This happens to be a site called 500px.com. You see Jonathan Buckley. The reason why I'm showing this site now is it happens to handle wide format panorama type photographs pretty well. Is this coming through okay,
Yeah.
Dee?
Yes. These are
Okay.
beautiful pictures. So you can buy these. They're like super wide, right? And hang them
Some
in.
of them are very wide, yes.
Yeah, and hang them in your office. So these are great pictures for like an office setting.
Yeah, so for instance, this photograph of San Francisco in the summer going from bridge to bridge would actually be 4 panels. So it would be broken up into 4 panels on the wall. And this one could be up to 12 feet wide. So it depends on what the company's looking for. And like, for instance, this was one of my first large sales, but see if this comes up here. This is the Port of Oakland, which is very interesting. I don't know if the detail can come through Zoom, but the detail of all the different containers coming off the container ship at the Port of Oakland. This actually went to a company in Oakland in their lobby.
Cool.
Broken up. And it's just a different perspective from, a lot of people buy drones and they shoot them up to 400 feet and look down and gee whiz, that's nice. But I actually take a lot of photographs down lower, at the 100-foot type level. For instance, this happens to be Coit Tower in San Francisco with the sun rising, and the Transamerica building in the background as an example.
So how did you get the sun to go right through that gap?
Well, I happen to be some distance away, and you just maneuver the drone until you get it just right and get the sun piercing through
Yeah,
the holes.
that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I like that picture.
It gives you that look.
Yep.
So this is just one large format panoramas are just one format that I shoot in, that are interesting. This photo, for instance, would happen to go onto one large panel, and this is Point Bonita Lighthouse at the very tip of San Francisco Bay.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there. Go ahead.
I saw you had a golf course too. You could sell
Oh
those to
yeah,
golf courses, like country clubs. They would. I think
yeah.
that would be awesome to have those hanging in their lobby.
This
There you
happens
go.
to be the uh, the par three course at the Olympic Club.
Uh,
It's the ocean course at the Olympic Club here in San Francisco, and I tried to capture as much of the course in one panorama as possible on a day. I happened to have a little tiny drone that I kept in my golf bag, and I shot it up there when I wasn't bothering anyone, and this was just a fun little one I did.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so if somebody wants to buy one of these, where do you go?
So right on elevarpictures.com
Mhm.
is my website. You can see right here, it starts with a video that introduces the company, um, and uh, and then schedule consultation, and we can sit down and the way we usually work with companies is one of two ways. Um, I have a large portfolio of existing um, images already with sample projects. There's just a few on the site that I have here. Or we develop a plan for the company that is unique. So, for instance, this image I'm going to show you of the Tribune building in Oakland came out of a consultation with a company called CB Richard Ellis, or CBRE, and they had an office in Oakland. They wanted 100% unique perspectives of Oakland, and this was one of 6 or 7 images that we came up with. The Tribune building in the morning hours as the sun was just starting to rise, and we put a collection together that no one will ever have um, in uh, in another building.
Yeah, you can even tell what time you took that picture because it has the
Exactly,
clock.
exactly. Actually, I think I have a picture of
Of the
that,
picture.
a picture of the picture hanging. You can see some of the artwork
Yeah, wow.
hanging in their office space.
So you do custom work.
I do custom work. If the company wants to help tell a story of their local community in a unique way that I hadn't thought of before,
Hmm.
that can be really fun for me
Hmm.
and the guys that I work with. So I have 2 other guys that I work with. One's a co-pilot and a co-photographer, and the other one helps do the retouching. He also runs the retouching group at Restoration Hardware, a rather large. RH is a large company. He runs their retouching group for
Hmm.
photography, and he's an excellent guy to have on board to help with these large format photographs.
No. All right, so I have a really important question.
Yes.
How many drones have you lost?
Ah, yeah, that's a great question. So if I go back to 2013, 14, when things were just starting to mature, like GPS chips and whatnot,
Hmm.
I'm going to venture a guess that I have lost 4 or 5 drones at minimum. Um, yeah, probably, maybe, yeah, call it 5. It wasn't cheap, but a couple of things happened. Not only did I get considerably better, obviously, in operating drones with all the hours that I now have.
Uh-huh.
Um, the actual hardware, the chipsets that go into these drones, the higher end drones got a lot better. They became
Yeah.
double or triple redundant. They used to have problems. They called flyaways. So once in a while, a drone would simply, literally just fly away. With a mind of its own. Those problems seem to be behind the industry now. So I haven't lost a drone in a long time, thank goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, they've come a long way, definitely. But they're
Yes.
not easy to fly.
No, they're not easy to fly, especially in tight spots. And getting the shots just right. That takes a lot of practice. And thankfully I did that with the cheaper drones. Now my high-end photography drones, these can be $10,000-$15,000 machines. So you have to be very careful. Obviously follow safety precautions. There's a very a special certification you go through to make sure, and a regimen that you follow to make sure
Yep.
you're safe around people and things, and you carry a pretty good insurance policy together with it.
Yeah. But what you get out of it is some really unique perspectives. It's something that you can't get from just taking pictures, right?
That's true. That's true. Now I have used on some rare occasions. I've used my drones to do some real estate shots, but I've decided, because this is a side hustle, I'm balancing my time with my marketing business,
Yeah.
where I'm going to begin and end, where I'm going to focus my time.
Yeah.
There's a lot more business in aerial that I could be doing, but I'm purposefully not doing it because of the opportunity cost of
Yeah.
running the marketing business. But
Well,
most recently, I filmed the $40 million home in San Francisco for sale, by air.
wow.
Yeah,
Do you have that
that was
video? Show us that video.
sure. Yeah, let me share a screen. I'll pull
Drones,
that up.
drone video footage is becoming like way more popular. More people want it. It's cool, right? I'd love to see my house from above because I can't normally. How else would I see that? But we bought a drone, and the reason we bought a drone is so we could see if there were leaves in our gutter.
Really?
Because I was tired of going, up the ladder, clearing the gutter, and then going back. And so now we just fly around, and I know exactly where to go to clear out the leaves.
Let's see if I can find it by a search. Yeah, I have it in Vimeo. There we go. Okay, let me pull it up, and I just have to share.
Yep.
Here it is, and share screen. So here it is.
Oh, ooh, look at that pool. See,
I
that's a
don't know.
perspective that's way cool that you wouldn't normally just get. You'd have to have a drone, right?
Yeah, you do need a drone. I'll just play a couple
Whoa.
of frames of this.
See, that does a lot for that property to see that perspective.
Wouldn't it be nice to wake up and do a couple of laps in that? And this complements, in this case, they did a Matterport of the whole property. It'd be nice to, that's the whole side of the hill. And there's the property tucked in there with all
Wow.
the trees.
That's so cool. I like that. Good job.
Let me shut down the video. But it gives you an idea of the scope of it. Um, and then, realtors can share that around together with, sometimes integrated with, say, a Matterport or interior video, depending on what their strategy is.
Yep.
So,
So let's
um,
let's move towards the movie stuff now. Show us the stuff
sure.
you show. So he's got this new movie. It's coming out when?
So on June the 16th, I believe it begins streaming on Amazon and on Apple iTunes. If you have an Apple TV, it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD. It's called The Etruscan Smile. The producer is Arthur Cohen, director Oded Binan. You will recognize Brian Cox from Succession. Um, and a number of other actors.
Hmm.
Or see if I can maybe pull up just a little trailer. Would
Yeah,
that be
yeah. I
okay?
want to see it. So,
Now, now I was hired to do the San Francisco aerial scenes. It ended up they used all 5 scenes for the movie. So this was even though I shot this in 2016, it took all the way until now for the movie to come out. It was slated to start in theaters on March the 13th, but as we all know, we all sheltered in place.
yep.
So that's what happened. So I'll just play a little bit of the trailer here. Um,
So this is the movie that where Jonathan's aerial photography is included,
that's right.
and he'll point out the parts where it's him.
These pills to treat the horses. But I'm an old horse racing towards the finishing line. It is a line getting to the cross unless you get on that flight. I'm not going.
That's one of my scenes.
There we go. See? Look. 15 minutes. People have not traveled.
And there.
What is he getting them? There is no easy way to say this. How long do I have? 2 months. What you do? Don't fuss over me. I'm fine. Just give me something that won't bother my throat. What the hell is this?
It's a burial tomb.
A smile?
This is how the Etruscans pictured their dead.
Rosanna Arquette.
They can't die with a smile.
We need you to speak in Gaelic the way you speak in everyday life.
Tarhava. Gurikashaw. Gumbi. Honorach.
I did get the part about you loving the woman's breasts and you're being a demon in bed.
A devil. It was up to nothing in this world is ever change. Change? Oh, fuck. What am I supposed to do? Spend my life, my young, happy kids? You're doing the best you can.
But are we happy?
I'm not going to make the same mistake with him I did with you. Do what you love while you can. Before you put one foot in misery, it's too late.
There's another scene. So it won in the film circuit. It won best cinematography among other things.
Wow.
So I learned a lot through that process. I mean, so much. It was like going to film school for a while. Just the director and me for an entire week, one-on-one
Wow.
in San Francisco, and it was just a gift. I'm so grateful.
So what did you do to get that?
Well, first of all, I had the equipment and I had some demo reels out there that he got to see, my flying technique. And then I had a tryout with him after an interview at a Pete's coffee shop San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
And we had to see if we work together. There's a certain
Yep.
chemistry that's, you're working so tightly together. and frankly, things get very tense. So you have to see how you work under pressure. Literally, you might be yelling at each other. Things get really tense. And once we knew we worked very well together, then we worked the whole week.
So how did he find you though?
Um, he found me through a search that ended up showing one of my Vimeo videos
Okay.
that apparently I had tagged pretty well, so it popped up as a video that he saw.
Ah, okay. So if you're a drone pilot and you want a better chance of getting found by a famous director, post a lot of stuff on Vimeo and then tag it. What was the
That
tag that you used?
um, I don't recall. I could look it up, but it was something about the equipment that I was using, the technique I was using, and the lenses I was using. So keep in mind, contextually, this was also 2016. So there was considerably less noise out there in the drone world for high-end drones.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you know, right now it'd probably be a lot more noise,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do find that real estate agents and that whole market is using more and more drone footage as well.
Oh
So,
yeah.
like a lot of photographers now to keep up with everybody else, they're offering photography, 3D tours, right? Floor plans, drones.
Yeah, I can see why. I mean, a drone provides very good context for the neighborhood,
Yep.
for the home, for the property in the context of the neighborhood that we didn't have before.
Yep.
We also have Google Maps that can show even a higher level, but now you have three sorts of levels that you can bring in: Google Maps, something closer range at the
Yep.
400-foot level, and then obviously ground level.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great thing to add to your bag of tools.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And look where it
So
got you, right? So now you've
yeah,
done this movie and you've done several others since then.
yeah. I did another movie for PBS for director Jennifer Taylor, called The Talk. Actually, it's very timely for what's going on right now in the world. It's not just the U.S. now with Black Lives Matter. It's called The Talk: Race in America. It's about what families of color, the talk that they need to have with their kids about when you get approached by police. What do you do? How do you handle it to um, best um, optimize your outcome in your interactions, right? And I shot scenes, all the aerial scenes for Oakland for a story in there, and that documentary was with John Singleton, a number of people you would recognize as well,
Mm-hmm.
and that's in rebroadcast mode on PBS now, called The Talk. You can also buy it on DVD or watch it on a PBS website as well.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
actually a very relevant show right
yeah,
now. So we'll add the
it
link
is.
to that. We can put a link to that in the description of this video.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and I again doing the aerials as part of it can add proper content, just like it can for a real estate agent. A home, provides context for the selling of the home.
Mm-hmm.
This provides context for the selling of a movie,
Yeah.
and where it is, and it follows the family going down the highway. These sorts of things sets the context in the movie. And other things I've gotten involved with, I try and put about a third of my time in donating time to things like that. Unpaid, it's unpaid
Mm-hmm.
time, but I think it's well worth. It's giving back to the community. And then 2/3 the time into the artwork that go into office buildings and whatnot. I do donate artwork to go into auctions and other things like that as well.
Well, that's nice. Cool.
Yeah.
So this is the world of Jonathan Buckley.
Yeah, yeah, it's fun. It's a fun side hustle, I have to say, and I enjoy it very much.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
how hard do you think it would be for somebody who has no drone experience today to pick up a drone and just to start using one?
Well, it's considerably easier than when I started. The hardware is just remarkably better than it ever was before. How hard is it? Like anything, it takes time. Uh, yeah, I'm only going to throw out a bunch of cliches. As they say, 10,000 hours makes an expert, right?
Mm,
Um, the interesting thing I found about drones in particular is it's the engineering mindset types that gravitate to drone usage. And they tend not to be the photography types, right?
mm,
And and if you're the type of person that is balanced between photography and you're acclimated towards or at least not afraid of taking on technical things,
mm,
because they've become a lot less technical than they ever were before. I mean, I used to have to be on message boards learning how to hack things. None of that is needed any longer. But if you're not afraid to dive in, that's the perfect combination. The artful engineer,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
um, or the artist who's at least not afraid of a little technology in their life, and then practice on a cheap drone until you get it down and it's second nature, and then move up to the more expensive drones. For $1,500, $1,600 now, for you can get a drone that can take remarkable photographs, like DJI's um, Mavic 2 Pro with a Hasselblad camera on it can take wonderful, beautiful photographs. You don't necessarily need to go up to a 5 or 6 or $10,000 rig anymore.
Mm,
You can take beautiful photographs with something that can fold up and go into a camera bag,
mm-hmm.
and it's remarkable, really, how much technology has come into these little drones.
Yeah. I recently saw a company that's doing interior drone footage now, which is
Really
really cool because you don't have to go into the house. So in today's world, if you want to do social distancing and you don't want to get sick or anything, you send the drone in and you fly it around. So that's
nice,
pretty cool. Yeah.
nice, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we're evolving. The world is improving as we go. And yes, drones are way easier to fly because, like I said, we have one. And if
yeah,
we can figure out how to fly it, then I think anybody can. Uh,
yeah.
and yeah, I mean, real estate photography is more sort of math and angles and lights, and which sort of lends itself more towards the drone part as well.
Right.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, nice.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Anything else you want to share with us?
Um, No, it's this is just a story about how a hobby turned into something that can generate income and provide
Yep.
an activity of joy. Um, it has been a wonderful activity to unite both me and my son.
Hmm.
I have grown accounts, with companies like Honda and Merrill Lynch, Informatica, um, Lyft, and others. With ads. I didn't mention doing ads and music videos, but um, there's been a lot that has come down the line, and it's been a blessing, and it's been fun. When something
Yes.
ceases to be fun,
Yes.
um, then you don't want to do it anymore. It becomes
Yeah.
labor. But for me, it's been fun and rewarding, and I look forward to some more years of it.
Yeah, so there's nothing greater than turning something that you absolutely love into a job because then it's not a job. Right?
Exactly.
And that's the way to live. So yeah, if you're interested in learning more about Elevar, I'll include some links to the description of this video, and we'll also include links so you can contact Jonathan if you have any questions or if you want to talk to him about doing some photography for you. Um, his wall murals, or whatever you call them, the big pictures on the wall, are fantastic. So yeah, we'll include all that information so you, if you're interested, you know where to go to get that. So thank you so much, Jonathan. I've learned a lot. This has been a great session. I'm happy to hear that you've managed to turn something that's a passion of yours into a, a company. So that's a fantastic story. Anyway, this has been Capture the World with Dee. Thanks for joining me. Remember, if you have any suggestions on companies that you'd like featured on this show, please let me know. You can add a comment below. If you want to look at past videos that we've done, just search YouTube Capture the World with Dee. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye bye.